Hi guys, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the Tortoise, the Tier 9 British TD. Now this Ace Tanker's been a while in coming. In fact, I'm probably about halfway towards the FV215B183 grind, and I haven't been able to get an Ace Tanker in this tank before now, because the Tortoise is another one of these tanks that I just don't get along with, and it really surprised me because I was looking forward to this tank so much, because a lot of people hate the AT-15, and I love the AT-15. If I was to name my top 5 favorite tanks in World of Tanks, the AT-15 would be there. I love the AT-15. I don't play it like a TD, I play it like a heavy tank, I play it aggressively on the front lines, and it works for me. And I was expecting more of the same with the Tortoise, because it has the same top speed as the AT-15. It has a very similar armor profile. In fact, the armor doesn't get any better from the AT-15 when you upgrade to a Tortoise. It has roughly the same armor, but the AT-15 also gets into Tier 9 and Tier 10 games, so it sees the same tanks, and I don't mind the armor on the AT-15, so I thought, yeah, even though the Tortoise gets the same armor profile, it's still going to be okay. So it's got the same speed, it's got the same armor profile, but it gets a much better gun. Now, I love the gun on the AT-15, I love the 20-pounder on the AT-15, but the gun on the Tortoise is just so much better. It's 120mm with an amazing 259mm of penetration, 400 alpha damage, and a rate of fire of a shot every 6 seconds. The DPM on this tank is absolutely amazing, and once again, it's one of these tanks where even when I get it into Tier 10 games, I don't need to fire premium ammo. In fact, I've never fired premium ammo on this tank, but if I were, and if I needed to, we've got 326mm of penetration. That is absolutely insane. But as I say, the standard AP just does just fine for me, so I've never really had to fire any premium in the Tortoise unless I was running out of AP, which doesn't happen very often. So I was expecting basically this tank to play a lot like the AT-15, but with a much better gun, and it just hasn't worked out for me. And the reason it hasn't worked out for me is the Tortoise is much bigger than the AT-15 is. So the AT-15 is a big tank, but the Tortoise is a lot bigger, it's a lot easier to hit, and that's one of the downsides. But the other downside is this huge loader's cupola. I keep calling it a commander's cupola because usually it's a commander that sits in here, but on the Tortoise it's a loader, and this is absolutely huge. It's a big tank, this thing is huge, and most players with any experience whatsoever are going to know to shoot you here, and when they shoot you here, they kill your loader and your DPM drops from 6 seconds down to about 8 seconds. So this is a huge weak spot that the Tortoise does not need, but everyone shoots you there, and it's a big problem because the gun on the Tortoise is mounted quite far down. If you look at where the gun is, now when you're aiming or you're in sniper mode, you're looking along this line, but you've exposed so much of your tank above your gun aim, or your gun line, or your view, that basically, a lot of the times you think you're safe, you're not, and tanks can easily pen this commander's cupola again and again, even though you think you're safe. So while the tank actually has surprisingly good gun depression, and you would think it would make a good hill warrior, because you expose so much of the top of your tank before you can get your gun on target, yeah, it's not a very good hill warrior, and the gun depression means absolutely nothing. So even though it's basically an AT-15, same armor profile, same speed, much better gun, you can't play it like the AT-15, or you can't play it like I play the AT-15. The tank is just too vulnerable, too easy to hit that loader's cupola. And I'm going to give you an example right now. So this sequence of play is going to show you why I don't like the Tortoise very much. It's slow. You can see we've got the standard 20 kilometers an hour top speed for a British tank, so you've got a slow tank, and even though I like the AT-15 and I play it like a heavy tank on the front line, the Tortoise, it's much bigger. And you can see how slowly we're reversing. I decide to change. No, I decide to wait till I drop off radar. But when you're trying to use its gun depression, you expose so much of your tank. I've just been spotted again. T-54. And there we go, RT. Artie's going to target a Tortoise. Now, thankfully, Artie hit my gun, did 0 damage, but knocked out my gun.
Fire when ready.
So there go, even though I haven't taken any damage, I've had to repair my gun, because this is just a big target. It's slow moving, Artie loves shooting tortoises. It's just one frustrating thing after another. Now, the armor can be quite good. I mean, T-37 has very, very little chance of penning my side when I'm at an angle. But here we go. Now we're coming into a really, really frustrating period of play. So a T-54, and I try to track him. In fact, I do track him, but I fail to pen him. He uses a repair kit. But we've got the rate of fire, a shot every 6 seconds, and I get to do my first damage in this game. And I'm advancing, so A44 in the distance. And the gun is accurate, it's rapid firing, the DPM is fantastic, and things are good. Things are fine. Except that T-54 I shot happens to be platooned with an E-50, and here's his platoon mate. Now, I can't see that E-50, but that E-50 just took a shot at me. Don't know whether you saw that, but he was able to take a shot at me. So I'm wondering, what's he shooting? Now, I've got nothing. I can see very little of that E-50, but yet he's able to hit my loader's turret. Look at the M41 Bulldog. He's aiming at my commander's cupola. And there we go. I couldn't see anything of the E-50. He could just shoot my commander's cupola. The gun is so low down on the Tortoise. The whole top of the tank is exposed. You don't even know it is. So again, I say it's a commander's cupola, but it's really a loader's cupola. So there goes my loader. So I'm reversing. I can't deal with this E-50. I'm trying to go hull down. Look at that! I can't even see his outline, and he's got shots on my cupola. It's just such a big problem for the Tortoise. That was a bad shot by me. I tried to snapshot, but I finally put my loader back in, used my first aid kit, and this E-50, he's coming hunting. Now, I can't see him. Look at it, he's stopping, and then I realize, okay, hang on. I can't reverse any further, because if I do, then they're going to start shooting Bringy, but pretty unfortunate bounce on the gun mantlet, was going for the side of the turret, but again, I could barely see this E-50. And there you go. We trade shots, and he puts a shot into my loader's cupola again. And again, I'm just trying to scare him away. Artie's just gone for a shot and missed, but he's taken out my loader again. My loader is dead yet again. You cannot use this tank on slopes. And again, nice shot by me, but again he was able to try and go for a shot on that loader's cupola. I don't know. The Tortoise, it's just so frustrating compared to the AT-15. But the gun is good. I'll give it that. The gun is good. Able to take out a T-28 there. But again, I've got nothing. I can't shoot the E-50, but he could shoot at me. And Artie loves shooting tortoises because they're just so slow moving. So, taking a shot by Artie, I'm taking lots of damage from this E-50. And finally we get a decent shot in, but again, we're trading shots, we're trading health. I'm down to 187 hit points. And this guy is just able to pen my commander's cupola or my loader's cupola at will. This is why I hate the Tortoise. It's slow, it's situational. It has exactly the same armor as the AT-15, but it's bigger. It's a bigger target than the A-15 is, and or the AT-15, and the AT-15A or AT-15 has a much smaller cupola. So yeah, it's much harder to hit the cupola on an AT-15, but yeah, Tortoise is just not really a fun tank for me, and I like to play my British TDs aggressively, and that's something you just can't do in a Tortoise because everything can pen you. If a player has any knowledge whatsoever, at tier 9, they're going to shoot your cupola. So the E-50 made a mistake. I did kill the E-50. I'm on 2.5k damage. I'm on 2 kills. And we get another nice shot. But A-44, again, going for the cupola. I mean, it's not a secret. The Tortoise is so vulnerable, especially when it's trying to use slopes. So you can say that the tank has great gun depression, but the gun depression means nothing. Look at how little of this Bulldog I can shoot at, but yet he's got shots after shots after shots on my commander's cupola. Thankfully, He was bouncing, but we take him out, and as I say, you've got a decent gun. So even when the loader is dead, you go to a 7.8 second reload, which is still pretty fast for a TD, but definitely not as fast as 6 seconds. But yeah, Tortoise, it's a bloody frustrating tank to play as a result, and I don't enjoy it. But let's get back to this Ace Tanker. So yeah, the Tortoise was a tank I wanted to like so much, but it has so many problems I dislike it. I mean, you can play well in the Tortoise, you can have good games, but you've got to play it a lot more passively than you have to in an AT-15, and that was a big disappointment. So really, I mean, the Tortoise is not a bad tank, but it was just a disappointment for me after I loved the AT-15, and it always surprises me how many players free XP their way past the AT-15 to get to the Tortoise, when in my opinion the AT-15 is a better tank, as probably shown on previous replays. But anyway, we are here on Ensk. It's a very nice matchup. 3 tier 9s on either side, so I'm top tier, I'm platooned with Bringy and his Leopard PTA. Let's get on with this game. It's Ensk, and as I say, I'm top tier. And yeah, this is I said in a recent video when I was covering British tanks that when you're in a slow tank like the Tortoise or the Black Prince that you just saw beside me, sometimes when you go down one flank, you cross your fingers and hope that the enemy team are on that flank. And other times, in a slow tank, it's good when the enemy team come to you. Well, in this particular replay, it's the latter. Now, I was hoping to move up here and work this corner, but unfortunately this T-34 platoon have both moved up and they're both using the corners I wanted to use. So I was hoping to use the left and the right corner, use this building, but yeah, these T-34s, they're faster tanks. One of the downsides to driving a slow tank, you just don't get into position. So now I've had to expose more of my tank than I wanted to, and I'm going to have to be working behind the T-34s, and I'm trying to stay as far back as I can from them, because if they decide to reverse, I don't want them running into me. But yeah, Pershing there, and if I'd been on the other side of this building, maybe I could have done something, but there you go! Another disappointment. Track shot and an STA for 0 damage. Oh, this game. I really thought after that shot that this was going to be another one of these games. This was played on an evening when I basically just could not pen anything. So many critical hits, so many track shots, no matter what tank I was playing. It was track shot after track shot for 0 damage. And I figured this was just going to be another one of these games, but the STA-1 was nice enough to actually reverse in front of my gun. Now, I have taken 2 shots from a Type 59 firing APCR, and the Tortoise, when it keeps its distance, it makes the loader's cupola much harder to hit. And the Type 59 is finding that, so really, whereas I like to play the AT-15A aggressively and like a heavy tank, really when it comes to the Tortoise, the armor only works when you do try to keep your distance. But you can see I'm itching to move forward, I'm itching to play aggressively. And even though I've got a huge gun arc, my gun arc was not enough to swing around. I had to readjust, ended up firing a shot before being fully aimed. So, Ferdy, I've got no shots at these guys. And there we go, finally get a shot into that Type 59, track him in place. Now, I did have the rate of fire to maybe take another shot, but we were being flanked by a Pershing, and look how quickly I'm able to swing around, take out the Pershing. Now, if you've been looking at the mini-map, you can see Bringy running for his life, and that's because all our tanks that went down died. So, this was not a very high win rate game. I don't have win rates enabled, but people were talking about the low win rate at the beginning of this game during the countdown. But we've lost the other flank, and thankfully the enemy team are making a big mistake here. Maybe they should have left one person in cap, but they decided not to. So really, I'm able to move up, and unfortunately the spotting system means that I don't get a shot in there. And that was really unfortunate. Shot on the ST-1 and a WZ came in and blocked the shot. But look at this rate of fire. We're able to pour a shot into the WZ. So it's nice of the enemy. The enemy are coming to me. So we're able to put another shot into the ST1. Now the ST1 took my first damage. He put a shot into my cupola. Now I'd love to be working the other side of this building where I could hide my cupola, but there are no targets, and if I did, I'd be flanked. So E75 again, keeping an eye on the minimap, and again he's going for that loader's cupola. He puts a shot in, and now he's sitting side on to TD's. And my loader is gone again. So, yeah, loader's cupola. Anyone who knows what they're doing is going to shoot you in that cupola. But I'm back to my reload of 6 seconds, and now I can start moving forward again. I've lost a lot of health, but not too many scary tanks in front of me now. So the IS and the IS-8 are one-hit kills, and this AMX has lots of health. So, as I say, the aim time is okay, the reload is very, very good, the accuracy is good on this tank, as I say as I miss a shot through the rubble. But again, just moving forward, I'm not basically afraid of the AMX. He's going to underestimate me, but we can get a shot in. That was quite a low roll, 400 alpha damage, we only had 360 there. But it's amazing how many tanks underestimate the reload of this tank. So we go for the kill, and a shot goes high, bounces on the IS-8 space armor. Yes, the IS-8 not supposed to have any armor, but that was a really unfortunate bounce. So yeah, a lot of tanks underestimate the reload of a Tortoise, and I could have taken a snapshot there, but I decided not to. So basically, only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. I know there's a Jagdtiger 88 sitting in the cap, so I'm only on 474 XP. 2 shots into my side from the Jagdtiger 88 will kill me, and he was capping, so I know he's to my right, but the cap has stopped, and I'm wondering, is he coming for me? So I wait for a few seconds till Bringy can come down and support me, and then I move forward, expecting to get shot by the Jagdtiger, but nope, the Jagdtiger's disappeared. So I move in, I'm on 4 kills, and I decide, you know what, I'm going to take a hit. And there we go, he takes out my engine. So the IS-8 is able to put a shot straight through the front of my tank, even at an extreme angle. That was disappointing. He takes out my engine, leaves me on 39 health, but the game was over, and I figured, you know what, I just want the extra kill. I'm on 4,800 damage, and I was hoping to get to 5,000 or 5k damage, so I decided to risk the hit, take the hit. Game is over, and unfortunately, this tank, again, being a slow tank, you just can't clean up at the end of games, and our Team Wolfpack, that Jagdtiger 88, taking him out. So the Ace Tanker in the Tortoise has been quite a while in coming, and to prove that, you can also see I picked up a Mark of Excellence. So I've been playing the Tortoise for quite a while. There's a long grind till the FV215B183, and I started the grind using the 20-pounder from the AT-15 on the Tortoise. Used the 20-pounder to get the 60,000 XP I needed to unlock the final 120mm on the Tortoise, and I've been playing with the 120mm for quite some time. It's a long grind till the FV215B. But yeah, first Mark of Excellence at the same time as my first Ace Tanker in the tank. And I mean, the Tortoise is not a bad tank. I just have to break my habit of playing it aggressively, playing it like a heavy tank, because really it just doesn't perform like a heavy tank the way the AT-15 does. That cupola is just too big, the gun is too low, you expose too much of the top of your tank, especially when you're trying to go hull down and play it aggressively. The tank is a good tank if you keep your distance. The armor is much better at a distance, and if you play it much more like a traditional TD. It's just I have problems doing that. That's my own self-control and my own problem. So I suppose the tank is okay. I'm just disappointed in it. But we also picked up a Brothers in Arms, we picked up a Steel Wall, we picked up High Caliber for that game, and it was very nice for the enemy team not to cap and to come to me, because at 20 kilometers an hour, the Tortoise is not a fast machine to be chasing tanks around the map. 1465 XP and nearly 5,000 damage, and I feel I was really unlucky, especially with that first shot in the STA-1 where I only tracked him for 0 damage. Was really looking for a 5k game there. Also, a little bit disappointed I wasn't able to pick up a Top Gun, just needed 1 more kill, but it was a good game, so I can't really really complain that much, and the gun is good, although even though this was an Ace Tanker, the gun let me down in that game. So I fired 21, hit 19. The gun is accurate enough, providing you're not taking too many snapshots, and the penetration let me down. You've got over 260 millimeters of penetration, and yet I only managed to pen 14 of 19, so the damage could have been much higher. However, I received 11 hits, and 6 of them were bounces, but the only shots I really bounced were at the beginning of the game when I was keeping my tank at a distance. As soon as you got into close range combat, enemy tanks were able to hit your cupola with almost no problems. And again, quite surprised that the IS-8 was able to pen me at an extreme angle as it came around at the end of the game. But yeah, the armor has been kind of a disappointment. Even though it gets the same armor profile as the AT-15, I feel more comfortable when I'm driving the AT-15 than I do when I'm driving a Tortoise. But we damaged 9, destroyed 5, did over 2,000 assistance damage, mainly through tracking enemy tanks and spotting them as they came into spawn. And then we finished up with 34,500 credits with a premium account. 2,197 XP on the first game of the day times 2 left me on 4,400 XP. So yeah, first game in the Tortoise, or first Ace Tanker in the Tortoise, I should say. And it was an okay game. It's just, if I wanted to play fun tanks, the Tortoise would probably not be at the top of my list, and I was really expecting this tank to be better, but I find it very frustrating to play. I guess I'm just going to have to play it more passively, keep it more at a distance, and play more like a traditional TD, although I can find, or more recently I'm finding that type of gameplay a little bit more annoying and frustrating. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.